Hey everyone. Yeah, so we'll be starting in like a minute or two. Just gonna let some folks stream in first. So maybe just grab your drink, get something to bite on or something. And we'll be back in like a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, I guess can start. Yeah, so before we go into the whole panel proper, I wanted to share with, everyone a bit about what Eagles has planned out for the semester, and also a bit of introduction about what Eagles Inc is, especially for any freshman of SMU who is actually joining us for the first time. Wanted to give you guys a briefing of what we can expect from us, what is the club is, and things like that, right? So just going to jump right into it. So, my name is Clarence. I am actually the president of SMU Eagles Inc. Happy to be happy to be hosting you guys today. Yeah, and so just give you a brief history of how Eagles actually started, right? So, two alumni actually from the business school, Ben and Jeff, they actually donated a generous, have a generous donation of $1 million for us to actually run the club and also do all our activities, right? So from our competition to our challenges to our networking sessions, things like that, which I'll go more into that later on, right? So basically they had this vision in mind, right, to help support student entrepreneurs or even like aspiring students who want to go into entrepreneurship. And they actually formed this fund called the P.A.K fund, or the Passion Action Kickstart Fund, right? And so with that generous donation, they have actually topped up that generation, that generous donation, right? So I just lost my words because it was a big amount of money, right? Yeah, that donation, since then, right, they actually topped up to almost like 5 million right now. So with that money, we have been helping students actually with their startups, with their ideas, and even like challenge them with the entrepreneurship, right? The spirit of entrepreneurship. Yeah, and so for Eagles, what we are is actually, you can think of us as a bridge, right, between like the students, the faculty, and even like outside, even entrepreneurs and even founders from outside of SMU, right? So basically, as Eagles, what we do is we try to connect our students with folks who are actually helping startups grow, helping startups build up, and in terms of like their skill sets, in terms of like their fundraising, in terms of like any kind of like talent recruitment, things like that, right? So that's where actually Eagles come in. We are the bridge, right? So I don't want to bore you with all the words, right? So I guess if you can actually sum it up with a few words, this is actually our North Star, which is to cultivate and inspire students to take on the challenge of entrepreneurship, right? So that's where we are, right? We want to introduce students to the sense of entrepreneurship, to taking on that leap of faith, right? And so what we do with that is actually with different activities such as our masterclasses, our AMAs, our networking sessions, and even this year we had a new introduction to startup challenges, which is like Hatch and Social Engine. That's where we actually invite students to pitch to our judges, pitch to people who have been there and done that. And even they have and winners actually earn some money, right? Earn some money to actually start up, to even fund their MVPs, which is like the minimum viable products, things like that, right? And also finally P.A.K, which I'll talk more about later as well, right? So there are some photos, of what Eagles does on a regular basis. Of course, it's pre-COVID, right? So you can see there's no social distancing and all. So what we do is we have networking sessions, we have company visits, we have AMA with entrepreneurs, things like that. I think a bit more recently, we held Social Engine and Hatch, right? So this is where we actually give out real money, right? We're not talking about fake money here. We're not talking about just any kind of prize, things like that. We're talking about cohort cash, right? And so we actually help our student founders really grow their business, trying to accelerate these folks, trying to make sure make their dreams into reality, right? And so with that in mind, this is actually the schedule that we have for this semester, right? So these are some things that you can actually look forward to in our calendar, right? So first off, tonight's session would be AMA with student founders, student bosses, right? Basically, this whole session is just to introduce you guys to some of our student entrepreneurs and how they actually juggle school with entrepreneurship, right? I think it's always been a question in all students' minds who is looking at entrepreneurship as an avenue, right, in their life, as a career path, is how do you actually juggle starting a company and with your academics, right, things like that. And 2 weeks from now, we're having our startup legal masterclass. That's where we're getting a founder of a legal tech startup to answer all your legal related questions, right, about starting up, things like that. We're getting folks down from top accelerators in the world, right, like Endler, to give us a rundown of what product market fit is, how they actually teach customer acquisition outside of even like to real startups, even to bigger startups and even like non-SMU startups, right? Things like that. And also we have some sessions where you can test your pitch. So that's where we'll invite down some seasoned founders to evaluate pitches that you might give. If you're interested, do sign up and do keep a lookout for that as well. And we do have a few panel discussions lined up, with different topics. If you're interested, all this is, there's no charge, right? All this is no commitment. You can come for one, you can don't come for another. It's really up to you. At Eagles, we try to be the most open, most accessible, most contributing sort of a club in a business club in SMU, right? And P.A.K 2021, like I mentioned earlier, right? So what is P.A.K, right? So P.A.K, you can think of it as a student-focused startup conference, right? So this is something that we run every year. And we're proud to say that P.A.K is actually one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Southeast Asian student-led startup competition around, right? So in a moment, you'll see why. So during P.A.K, what you can expect is like a day of panel sharing, keynote presentations, really just people in the ecosystem coming together, trying to celebrate or celebrating entrepreneurship as a whole, right? As a community. And so there's something that we're really proud of. Why biggest is because the P.A.K challenge is actually not only a conference, but also a competition, right? So we run the biggest startup competition in Southeast Asia. Biggest because you can see as our grand prize is actually 50K. If you go out there, do a quick Google search, you'll never see a startup competition that is student focused, that gives like prizes as as big as this, right? So that's something that we're really proud of, and it's something that we really take a lot of pride in terms of organizing for our students, right? And so some of the photos that we have of previous years P.A.K, right? And so you can really see it's really a festivity behind. Some of the notable names that we have that have you went through P.A.K, Homemade, Kudi, and Good for Food, now known as Lumatics. They actually gone on to raise like multi-million-dollar rounds, right? So fun fact for you guys, Eagles actually gave out a good 200K in terms of like prize money so far. And our companies in total actually raised over $20 million, right? So there's some notable names. I don't want to spend too much time on this. And so, yeah, I'm just going to leave this page right here, right? So if you guys haven't joined our Telegram group already, that's where you can get all the news about Eagles, get all the discounts, get all the partnerships that Eagles has. And this is where, the community really is, right? So do take some time to scan the QR code to join our Telegram community. And I guess just going to leave it up for a few seconds, and I can just hand the time over to Eunjie, who will actually help moderate the session with our guests right here, and I'll leave it to them to introduce themselves. And so, yeah, do feel free to reach out, do join our Telegram chat, do reach out to any of the admins, talk to us about what you want to see with Eagles, things like that. And yeah, have a great session ahead. Thanks, Eunjie.
Yeah, thanks, Clarence. Okay, so thanks, Clarence, for the introduction. For today, our session on student entrepreneurship, we have invited Casey from Afterclass, Marianne from Calibrate, and Evan from Quest. So this is how the session is going to go. So I'm going to just go around Afterclass first, followed by Calibrate and then Quest, and then they're going to share maybe how they started up their company, what their company is about. And then afterwards, we'll have a Q&A session where the audience can drop in your questions, either unmute yourself or text it inside the chat. So without further ado, can I invite Casey from Afterclass to briefly share about what Afterclass is all about?
All right, hello everyone. Thanks so much, Eunjie, for introducing the event. So what's up, everybody? I'm Casey. I'm the co-founder of Afterclass. I think Afterclass, for many of you, because we are talking to SMU students here, pretty sure most of you use Afterclass, but just a very brief introduction to Afterclass for us is we want to be the first student app for all college students, and not just any student app, but the super app. So think of it as Grab, but students. The end. That's the end of my talk. Anyway, yeah. So, but just a rundown. So far on Afterclass, we have already launched a couple of features, and we have a lot more working on the way as we work on it after class. So the first feature that everybody know and love, which is reviews, that which we allow you to leave reviews on professors and for your modules. So far, we have launched in SMU, and then in the next month, you'll be expanding into NUS, and in collaboration with NUS Mods. And then in 1 month's time from now, we'll be expanding into the NTU market, therefore finishing the holy trinity of the 3 big universities in Singapore. On top of that, it's a very contentious, yes, I also read SMU Confessions. I know we had a very contentious feedback on bid price analytics. That one, feel free to ask any questions. I'll be more than happy to take that. But that's for our second feature. Our third feature is called Marketplace. So currently we are on a concierge MVP. MVP stands for a minimum viable product. In other words, we are in a beta launch by which we allow you to sell your books, your notes, calculators, and any other student materials from consumer to consumer or C2C. And we, Afterclass, don't take any single profit from that transaction. But then offshooting out of that, our next feature is called Deals. So think of it as marketplace instead of C2C, it is B2C. So far, we are really happy to have quite a couple of our sponsors and companies that have approached us to list on deals, which will be launching in a couple of weeks' time. Yep. Also, so do keep a lookout for that because it is exclusively for after-class students. We are really happy, and so far we have more than 10,000 in terms of amount for the companies who have sponsored and are listing on deals. So exclusive information here today. Then after that, we'll be launching our next feature called Nexus. So in line with, we want to be with you, for you, throughout your whole student life cycle. That's why we want to launch Nexus to help you be matched with your dream internship. So what does this mean? Because we have all your data that you have given us for your review, say I know what I want to look for, what I'm looking at, what deals I am interested in, and what textbooks I have, we can create a unique formula together with our official partnership with Talent Tribe, which is one of the SMU BIG companies. We will be able to match you to all the employers out there. That means we are essentially eliminating the need for any headhunter. And on top of that, you will get no charge at all. So, and then the very last feature is called communities. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen U-Wave floating around the different universities. That's our competition. So you can find out who they are, that we can do it better. Yeah. So just moving on to the part on, so how do you make money? Because all this while I've been saying, oh, everything no charge, even exercise no charge. Because we understand that you students have not very willing to pay for this type of features. And of course, we ain't gonna monetize you for these type of features because at the end of the day, like if you see our slogan in our virtual background here, for students by students, we ourselves are students just like you. So why should we take money from you? In other words, our business model is scale first and then monetize on those who are willing and able to pay. What that means is we are going to monetize in terms of the deals like I mentioned from the B2C sector. And then next is in the form of internship matching, by which we take a cut from every successful matching from the hirers. So essentially what that matters to you as students is everything is for free. The only difference is we are here to help you throughout your student life every step of the way. So that's been our journey so far is how did we come across as Eagles is we actually participated in earlier this year in terms of the Eagles hatch. And we emerged one of the winners like you see on the presentation slide just now. So what Eagles hatch kind of is it's basically a pitching competition, but a smaller form of the P.A.K challenge, which Marianne and Evan is also taking part of for P.A.K challenge. So hope to see you all there. Yeah. So then after that, we also got quite a bit of backing from the IIE side in the form of the Student Entrepreneurship Internship or the SEI program. So for all of you here who aren't really that willing to commit to a long-term preparation on in terms of the BIG program, because it's quite a rigorous program with quite high requirement criteria, I highly suggest you get a start with the SEI program first because it pairs you with industry leading mentors. And then you also get a little bit of stipend at the very end. So it not only Eagles that helps you build up your startup from nothing, you have student practitioners, leading mentors. Like for me is I was mentored by Tibor Berieri, which is an ex-Google mentor. So that's the type of pedigree that you get to see if you are. So we are highly recommending of that. And I'm talking quite a lot, but just one last point is in terms of challenges is, I know it's difficult. Everyone here is gonna tell you it's difficult. Startup is not the large life. And the caveat here is, if you see through LinkedIn, like recently I saw this amazing quote that I just want to share with everybody. I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. So I go into startups. But now I work 24/7. Now let that sink in first. Yeah, so at the end of the day is, if you are passionate about something and you are trying to help people, it's not about the money, it's about helping people, then startup is the one for you. Startup makes you grow not just as a person, because you need to learn everything. Jack of all trades. Okay, let me just end the phrase there, jack of all trades. Yeah. But then at the end of the day it's a really way to grow yourself. And I'm very blessed. I'm blessed to be in SMU because SMU allows you to balance a lot of things. So for myself, I'm doing after class as a co-founder. I am part of the marketing team for the Aphrodite project. I cannot share what that is, but basically it's another startup. Then I'm also currently a part-time intern under Shopee. And I'm doing 3 mods. So what that means, you can do it too. The end.
All right. All right, thanks, Izzy. Right, so I have a few questions for you, right? So I remember when after class was SMU mods, and it really helped me in year one. But when I first saw SMU mods, right, the first question that struck me was, how did you all get the data? That's first of all, right? So how do you get the data? Secondly, like what technical expertise do you need for you to turn them into a website where people can just type in the professor's name, type in, this term, which round, what are the statistics? Because for me, I don't really do coding. So that's like like the area that I'm not so familiar in, and if I'm not wrong, Calibrate and Quest also, they have this technical aspect to it, which we'll go through later. But on your side, how do you overcome this, or how do you even come up with this idea of of turning information so readily accessible to students?
Okay, so thanks for the question. Really cool. The first one is regarding the how to get started on reviews and why we did reviews first. It's because those of you who are old enough to know what Review My Prof is, Review My Prof used to be a platform that was offering reviews for professors across the universities. But then they got shut down because they were basically NUS people who graduated. We didn't shut down then. So that left us a gap. Like, okay, so now where do you get your information? I can ask my seniors, but there's a huge deviation in terms of bias and what grade the professor gives you. So I mean, truth be told, for example, a professor gives you C minus, you say hate the prof. If the prof gives you A plus, you say love the prof. So we kind of want to eliminate this type of biasness by centralizing and pulling all this information in one single place. So how do we get started? The only way to get started that I could think of is to pay people to get started per se. So our very first marketing campaign was a Starbucks campaign. Basically, the more reviews you left on SMU at the point of time, you'll be entered into this giveaway, which allows you to walk away with $20 off Starbucks card. And that really got out off the ground because it's one thing to market to people, say, hey, help me leave reviews here, versus, oh, you help me leave review, then I will give you a chance to win the Starbucks card. And so in a sense, I am paying to go into the market, but it comes as a cost to me as well, because I need to do the marketing and all this money comes from my own pockets. So it's just a little sacrifice for a long-term game that you're looking at. I'm so sorry, I forgot your second question.
Oh
yes, the coding one,
think,
the coding question.
Yeah, the technical aspect,
Yeah. So for me, I'm actually really blessed because I have a very capable CTO with a very capable tech team. So for those of you who don't know, my CTO is Yash Gadodia, who is currently a year 3 student in the information systems. And he has a amazing team of backend and front end. For us, we are a true blue tech solution in a sense that you cannot go to a cookie cutter websites like Wix or Squarespace to build a website, because we need to establish two things: the back end and the front end. So like without being too technical, our back end, we use React. Our front end, we use Tailwind CSS. On top of that, for our UI UX, we started prototyping using Figma. Yeah, so those are just few terms that may or may not resonate with you.
Yeah, I'm completely like lost. But thank you for sharing. We move on to Calibrate first. I think we have similar questions for that one. So audiences, if you have any questions, you can just leave it in text as well. Then towards the end, I will see whether it's common towards all three startups. Then I will ask them together. Yeah. So okay, I see a question, but Marianne can you share with us a bit more about Calibrate?
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, my name is Marianne. I'm the co-founder of Calibrate. Actually, as of today, I'm no longer a student. So I officially graduated from SMU today. I attended a virtual graduation today. So a huge relief for me, to be honest. So hanging there for those who are still, striving and hustling on. So a bit about Calibrate. It was actually founded last year. It was an idea by both my co-founder and I, who happens to be my brother. So how the whole idea came about was actually, we do realize that, there's a gap in the market, and what Calibrate is about is a digital wellness platform where we connect wellness practitioners with users. So think of your TCM, chiro, physio, a lot in the pain relief space currently, but we are trying to move out to onboard more holistic providers. So because we do realize that, mind and body, everything's all linked, and you think of your sound therapy, your yoga, your meditation, these are the more holistic providers. So even nutritionists, I think this is something that we are also seeing trends that, a lot of people are taking a more holistic approach to their wellness, health and wellness. And especially when, now COVID period, I think a lot of people are placing more emphasis on health and wellness. Yeah, so I think how the whole idea really started was it actually came from Brian, who is my co-founder. He started working at Accenture for about 1-2 years. He was a tech consultant, and he realized that he has been working for very long hours, from probably 9 a.m. all the way to at night, and he do have very bad back pain and even numbing fingers because of what we're all facing today, sitting in front of the computer for long hours, low mobility, you don't move. Yeah, so these are some of the problems that he faced, and he realized that a lot of his office workers, office peers are also facing the same thing. And we do realize that, wow, there's actually something that's not being addressed, which is, there's such huge of gap, in the market, that people do not know who to go to when they're in pain. Yeah, so for himself, he was pretty lucky. He went to a chiropractor because it was introduced in his company, and then he realized that his chiropractor told him, "Hey, Brian, you have a body of a 40-year-old when you're 24." So that came as a shock to him, because he realized that, wow, his posture is wrong. He's been sleeping wrongly, standing wrongly, and it's affecting him, and not just his mind, but also his body. Both mind and body is linked, right? Yeah, so we do realize there's a gap. And back then, I was actually still an intern, and I actually just bought myself a laptop stand. So because I was also facing bad back pains myself because of work from home and COVID situation. Yeah, so we started talking to users, and we realized that a lot of them do not know who exactly to go to, because you have your physio, your TCM, your chiro. Everyone says that they can solve the same thing, which is for example, back pain, but who is actually the most suitable for you? Because let's say physio works for me, but may not work for you. So it's very subjective based on your own body reaction. Yeah, so what we're trying to create here as a platform is to really bridge the gap between wellness practitioners and users. Yeah, so on our website, we do have a search function where you can search by conditions. So for example, if you have back pain, neck pain, just tick both of that, and then we'll be able to give the relevant searches based on your conditions. And this is something we feel that it's not being addressed currently in the market. So for example, ClassPass, right? They focus a lot on fitness, your yoga and Pilates, but they don't specifically tell you what kind of practitioners you should go to when you're in pain, or if you need holistic practitioners. Yeah, so this is something that our website is trying to solve. And in the future, we are also trying to create an AI personalized assessment where you answer a series of questions. So for example, your stress factors, your lifestyle, how long are you sitting, just a series of questions tailored to your own body and conditions, and then we will recommend you practitioners based on what we have on our platform. Yeah, so this is really something that we are trying to build, and to create a ecosystem of holistic wellness practitioners. Yeah, so then again, you might be wondering also, what is our business model, and maybe more information. So for our business model, we are like any other marketplace. We do take a referral fee from our practitioners, but we are also still thinking of ways to monetize in terms of it could be article space, it could be changing it up to maybe a subscription-based model. But currently, we want to get the supply side of things first, because as a platform, there's always a chicken and egg issue. How do you deal with I think Casey and Evan can also resonate with this a lot. Chicken and egg issue is a huge thing for marketplaces. Currently, we are trying to acquire the supply side of things first, which is our practitioners, because we do realize that they are easier to come on board with us as compared to the users. Yeah, because there's no supply, there's no demand, right? So yeah, we are trying to get them on board first. So that's how we kind of intend to acquire our users in the future as well. Yeah. In terms of the journey, it has been lots of ups and downs. I think almost exactly a year ago, in fact, I just celebrated my 1-year work anniversary on LinkedIn. It so happened to appear. Yeah, so 1 year ago was just an idea. So I think with Calibrate has really come quite a long way. Last year, at different phases, we do have different challenges. So at the start, it was really us trying to figure out what is this all about. How do you navigate the entrepreneur space is something that I think a lot of students can resonate with if they're starting out, which is basically, how do you talk to users? How do you validate your idea? How do you build your MVP? How do you then reiterate based on that? I think these are some of the things that we did not know at the start, because school didn't teach us entrepreneur, right? I mean, even if there are modules, we don't really know the practical side of things. Yeah, so that was our set of challenges at the start. So we started joining pitch competitions throughout our journey. So in August, we joined, P.A.K Eagles, and then we joined NTU pitch competition, and then slowly we decided to expose ourselves to more opportunities. So we joined P.A.K, so which is an incubator in SMU. That was a point where I felt that it really helped us a lot, because it helped us to gain access to community, a lot of founders. I think this is where community is very important in terms of networking with others, understanding their journey, their challenges, how unique yet different our journeys are. Yeah, so this is something I felt that really helped calibrate. In terms of master classes as well, because coming from a marketing and strat background, I don't have much background in finance or even in tech, right? So in terms of getting more information about funding, like debt versus equity, how do you network with angel investors, when do you start fundraising, I think these are the things that are taught in P.A.K, which was very, very useful for us. Yeah, so after that phase, we started to apply for ESG founder grants. So that was just this year, and that was when we officially decided to work on Calibrate full time, because it's mandated that once you get the grant, you have to work on it full times. Yeah, that being said, we also felt validated that the government, even ESG, has given us the green light to go ahead and just take it away with that idea. Yeah, so that was at the start until January, and then that I would say is considered phase one, which is basically getting your product out. And then the next set of challenges come in when you have to build the product, which is after you validate it, how do you then build your platform and everything. So I'm very fortunate to have my co-founder who has tech expertise. He used to be at Accenture, so a lot of things can be handled on his end. So all of our website, we do build it in-house. So I think like what Cassie shared, we do share similar tools like prototyping on Figma. So that's where our UI UX team comes in, where they draw screens and then it's passed on to the developers who then code out in-house. Yeah, so I think the beauty of having tech team in-house is that we can reiterate things very quickly, and that's really what we should be taking note of, because we really pride ourselves as a product-led growth company, which means we really validate from our users, and everything is centered around our users. We ask them user interview questions, we reiterate based on feedback, everything is all from users. And product-led growth companies used to be something very unique in the past, but in the recent years, it's taken off quite a lot. And think of Airbnb, Stripe, Zoom, all of these are product-led growth companies. And to thrive, I would say, in this era, right, is to really be a product-led growth company and to understand what your consumers need. Yeah, so sorry I digress, but back to the point of what I was using in terms of our tech expertise, Figma for UI UX, and then we also do have pass on to the coders to code in-house. And then next set of challenges come in, which is how do you then market your product out? How do you get users? Yeah, so this is our current phase right now, which is I think the go-to-market strategy is really important here, because what I was envisioning was to actually convert users on our Telegram channel. So we do have about 1,000 plus users. I know it's not a lot compared to like Quest or even After Class, but it's something that we are also trying to build in terms of our Telegram channel. And I do realize that I wanted them to convert, but it wasn't as easy as it seems. So I had to tweak a bit of my go-to-market strategy in terms of acquiring users instead of going straight to acquiring end consumers, which can be costly, can be time consuming, and may not be very effective. I decided to go for the corporate route instead, because I do realize that a lot of companies are actually placing a lot of emphasis on health and wellness, especially for the employers. So in this period, which is the pandemic, right, they are trying to shift a lot of focus and bring wellness to the employees. So we felt that this was something we could tap on. So we're currently working with some corporate partners to kind of raise awareness of what Calibrate is about, and also bring these services to them without additional cost from them, because we do realize that they have to pay a lot, and these treatments can be quite expensive. So if it's reimbursed through flexible benefits by companies, I think it's something that we could really take advantage of. Yeah, so this is probably our set of challenges currently in terms of our go-to-market strategy. And there's a lot of, I would say, challenges along the way. But like what Cassie said, right, the quote that he mentioned is really not a luxury path, or rather it's something not as glamorous as it seems. There's a lot of like dark days. You are just, there's no clear path if you do not have everything figured out. And I think that's okay, because it's so dynamic. Startup is always moving. You can't have like a proper route, as in like, map out everything like very nicely. Yeah. So in terms of being a startup, I would say that's the beauty of a startup as well, because everything is so fast paced. You have to be adaptable, and that is something that I felt helped me grow a lot as well, because I'm so used to being in an environment. I mean, school, right? Everything is planned out for you. You do have a structure to follow, but in this kind of environment, you're forced to adapt. You're forced to go off your comfort zone. And when you really have your back against your wall, I think that's where your survival instincts really kick in, and you have to think how to pivot or how to persevere. I think this is something very important for founders, to really find out if you want to continue what you do, or do you pivot away from your original idea. Yeah, so this is something that I've learned throughout my whole journey in Calibrate. Yeah, in terms of the challenges. So I would say that it's not an easy journey, but sometimes you really need to take the leap of faith, because it's something that it's what my prof told me. So back then I was still stuck, in that choice of whether I want to do this full time, or do I keep going on, because last year it was just an idea. Yeah, so he mentioned, like sometimes you have to take the leap of faith to try out how it works, because when you have your back against the wall, that's what he told me, your survival instincts really kick in, and that's how you really challenge yourself to kind of figure things out. Yeah, so I've also learned to start networking with people, connect people on LinkedIn. I love connecting with student founders. I think I always like to learn from them, their journey, and also how I can adapt this their challenges, or learn from their challenges, and be kind of applied to Calibrate as well. Yeah, so this is a gist of what Calibrate is. Yeah.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, it sounds very exciting. 1 year you graduate, you wow, startup, and then all the grants comes in.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting and quite a journey so far, right? So would you say it's more what's the word called? So aside from the hard work, right? Do you think it's been worth it? Definitely, right?
Hands down, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for all three of you, it's the same.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. So okay, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Next, can I invite Evan from Quest to give us a quick introduction of what Quest is?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Evan, one of the co-founders of Quest. So Quest is a platform where we enable people to earn by actually solving everyday problems. So how should I actually start this? Okay, we call the people who help others as heroes, and the people who seek help from others as citizens. So we started this like I would say last year March, where we came together and thought, hey, when everyone has 99 problems every single day, like you need help for someone to do an errand for you, to do a task, or it can be really, really random things. So when you need someone to help you, where or who do you find for? And realize that there's not much platform out there, especially in Singapore or Southeast Asia alone. I thought at that point, Carousel is one of the only platform that I only know that I can find for services back when I don't know much about my competitors. So we said, hey, there should be a platform. Okay, why is it called Quest, right? I don't know if y'all played Maple Story before. So like, you can like hunt monster and like collect herbs or stuff. For such a platform in a game, why isn't there such a platform in real life? So like, oh, why not I call a company called Quest, then just start doing it. But so it started with this idea, and it's really for profit and everything. But along the way, we realized that when we dig deeper into the industry, we realized, oh, actually, this impacts freelancers the most. So actually, we slightly pivoted to targeting freelancers at the start. And we actually just started with no knowledge. Like my CTO has never coded an app before. He has no internship. My CPO also has no internship experience, and I was just going to my first marketing internship. So we really just learned everything from the start. At March, I think we went for the real business, like some pitch, they want like $200. Then so we used that $200 to buy logo from Fiverr, all this, and we just started out. And during summer, we we didn't code, we used UX/UI, and we were so new, right, that we didn't even know there's this thing called Figma. So we have to use Adobe, and it's not really the best platform. So we used Adobe to do everything. We created an Instagram account, and then we joined the NTU competition that I think Marian was in. And it was really, really new for us. And at that point, there's a lot of startups that were so much more advanced than us, and we felt really lost and small. Like wow, we're just, a lot of people questioning, oh, are you just an idea or just a project? And then no, we're doing this, like, oh, we're very serious about it. So there's a lot of convincing to do, especially when so what Quest is really about, right? It's like you really can do, like, you can hire a hero for pretty much anything, like really to do any kind of errands for you. So we operate in a very like horizontal marketplace, like really people request for really different things. So a lot of people didn't resonate with our idea at the start. So a lot of people were like, oh, this cannot work lah. Why not just focus on cleaning or household? Oh, it just be a cleaning agency lah. But that's not what we wanted. So it took a lot of convincing. And at the point, we didn't have any structure. We have no app. My CTO was just learning how to build an app. Like, so we only have a beta test with like 20 to 50 users. And even with that, it didn't progress much because a lot of things didn't work well. We were so new to it. So we joined also a lot of competitions. Like I think we joined the National Youth Council one. I think that was really not bad. So if you're interested, I think that was really not bad. And I think that they provide with us a lot of consultants and like to really understand. And they were very, very nice. Like in the sense of like trying to help us rather than like grill you on your pitch. And that benefited us. And then I also use Quest for like my group projects. So I was in the same class as Clarence actually. So he helped me with my project. And we use Quest to like teach the prof. And the prof also didn't like fully agree with what we think Quest will become. And then in December we started. So we were thinking, hey, we are spending so much time building an app, right? Is it even like validated? Like, is there anybody who's going to use it? If you're going to spend the next 3 months hiring people, getting people to do, will it even work? So we actually look into other companies that actually have Telegrams, and like, oh, actually, why not let's create a Telegram channel and just try, right? So like how Casey and Marian, they keep saying like how they pivot and learn, right? We were like, okay, let's create a Telegram channel, and if it doesn't work, then 1 week then we just delete it lah, and we just focus on what we were focusing at the start. So we created a Telegram channel in December 16. And I think fortunately, right, in 1-2 weeks, we grew to 400 users. They were like, oh, not bad. Like the concept was quite interesting. So we grow fat a bit. So like Marian and Casey like agreed with the whole chicken egg problem, right? So at the start, we're like, how do we even get the demand? Because nobody know about us, right? So we go back, we go like Carousel, go all the other competitors. They were, hey, I can actually do this for you. Then but can you tally me or not? Then they tally me. Then I'll say, oh, but I actually run this platform on Telegram. Would you want me to post for you for free? So I just post for them. And the first one was very, very interesting. It was a marriage proposal one. So this guy, he's a software engineer and he's like not very creative lah. So he was just saying, I need to like propose to my girlfriend and I need someone to like plan the whole event out. So that was one of the first quests. It was $300. So it was really interesting. I think that kind of like the Telegram network effect kind of worked on with us, and a lot of people started sharing it. And we start getting initial traction based on the Telegram. And slowly we do a bit of growth hacking, a bit of asking people, hey, you want a quest now? We just post for you. Or wherever my friend talk about they need help or something, like, hey, post a quest. So I just post for them. And wherever there's an interesting one, we will post on SMU, post on any other random Telegram channel. I think even at a point, Marian like text me like months ago. She was like sharing, hey, you can join all these Telegram channels to join, like all the neighborhoods. So like, oh, okay, so I just share. But it's hard because I got banned a few times. Like people complain me for spamming and all that. So that's how we grew at the start. And I think it was really, really helpful because people start believing in us and like, oh yeah, you got 400 users, got 600 users, you might be onto something. And so people start not believing in us, then that's how we got into BIG also. So we like what Marian is, she joined last year, right? We joined this year January batch. So it was really helpful because it was a really good sign of validation. Actually, for myself, right, I always wanted to go to SMU BIG since like in army. Like when I first know at SMU, I was like, wow, they're so cool. There's this entrepreneurship like center. So it was really a dream come true to actually even have a chance to enter it at that point. And it was really it was a really good sign of validation for our founders because we pitched to like a full team of people and like they actually believe in us. And this also led us to get the SG Startup Founders Grant. So that was really helpful. Like 50K is really helpful, right? And we can start hiring a full team to really build up the app. So over, I think 5 months or 6 months, we got like 4 to 5K users on our Telegram channel. And that's because a lot of people shared our stuff, like all the interesting ones. And yeah, we just grew. So we, okay, the app is good. So we started testing and building up the app right after exams in May. And we've been building it. And we launched the app in June 21st. So that was really exciting. And then on June 21st, we launched the app. And yeah, initial traction was really not bad. Like I think in the first day we got like 400 plus users through like a lot all out marketing lah. And we thought not bad. Like our Telegram took like 1 month or 3 weeks to build to 400 users. We can get in 1 day. That's not bad. But how do we go further? I was like, wow, we spent so much like effort trying to gain 1 day, and then we start seeing the rate drop. So we decided to post more on TikTok. Then so TikTok was our saving grace. So apparently we got quite famous on TikTok, like very viral for one of the videos. So I think on our 3rd week of launch, right, we got like 100 over K views in 1 day. Then and just nice the way we do our TikTok, right, translate to growth. Like it makes people download the app. And I think in 1 day we grew by 3K users. And at that point we only had 800, so it grew to 3.8. And it was really scary because as much fun it was to see so many users, right, we never prepared for such a big user base. Like the app was just at version 1, a lot of things didn't work, and like this was like a mess, like beta testing for us. So it was really stressful, especially for my CTO, right? Because like a lot of people start complaining, like, wow, why the app so bad? Like, oh, why this doesn't work? Your payment, why is this so expensive and everything? So we had to really faster build, right? Like in 2 days time, we have to like find because people were using it to buy cigarettes and we had to ban these kind of words. So there were a lot of things we need to do. It was really fun. It was fun to me lah. Like honestly, it was really fun to see it rise through the App Store ranking also. So I think by our 3rd week, because of the TikTok, right, we were number 1 on the App Store for like 1 day, and then we were at a point even higher than TikTok itself. So we're like, wow, not bad, yeah. The app that gave us our hands and feet, we were even in front of it. But I told my team that I don't think this could last forever. Like for us to really be there all the way, right, we really have to build a good product that our users want and really capture all these people. So that's what we are doing right now. And so far we realized that TikTok is one of the best. TikTok and Telegram are one of the best way of like networking to the users. That these 2 platforms help us solve our chicken egg problem. And ever since then, we've been like posting a TikTok every week, and every time we post a TikTok, we are number 1 on App Store. Yeah, so far we've been number 1 for a few weeks already. Yeah, I think now drop a bit lah, but I think need to post some more. So that's quite fun for us. Then on Marian's point, right, of like saying like how do we convert users from Telegram, right? At the start, we also thinking like, hey, yeah, we got like around 3K at that point, and how do we convert these people into into our app, right? And then we actually did a survey and asked our users like, hey, you know, if we have an app, right, and this app can do ABC, would you download the app? Then the app, like you say, so it was hard to convince them to use the app, but I think it's because a lot of people have different reasons. Like the app, it could be a very simple reason, like their phone didn't have enough storage. So we learned that, okay, we really need to make sure that our product is like 9 times, 10 times better to make sure that people are willing to switch over. And then we decided to like, let's not focus on like just moving people from Telegram to the app, but seeing that actually the market is way bigger. So it's not just people on the Telegram, because people on Telegram are limited to the network you can post in, right? TikTok, the algorithms work in a way that anybody in Singapore can see it. So that way, this helps us get to a much wider audience. And then we realized that, wow, a lot of young people are using our platform because at the start, right, Quest was aimed at freelancers, blue collar workers, and of course like students, right, because of Telegram. But then we realized that there's a lot of peer-to-peer connections, and a lot of people are using Quest for like rather than just hiring people for freelance service like $1,000 for website design and everything, like just like a Fiverr kind of business, right? A lot of people are using Quest for like the most random things. So 2 weeks ago, someone posted, help me test my boyfriend's loyalty or something. So that was very interesting, right? Then we post on Telegram, then it got viral. Then post on TikTok, it got viral again. So all this helped a lot lah. And we realized that the market for such like services, right, like this kind of odd jobs are in aggregate could be way bigger than just focusing on one particular. Like if we were to focus on household services, yeah, it's probably taken by one of the biggest competitors, or like there are a lot of competitors inside the industry. It's really challenging to just build one thing. So what Quest really focus on is really developing this like horizontal marketplace. Then we capture all this value in the long tail of services, and we believe like this in aggregating all this, right, it's really a huge market, and that's what we are aiming for. Biggest challenge so far, right now, our biggest challenge is the transactions. So okay, it's really nice to see a lot of people posting different quests every day. I think now we are getting like 40 to 60 quests being posted every single day, but I would say like easily 80% of people do not transact through the app, or they just like, hey, I can do this for you, like how I did to other apps. So they were like they transact out of the app. And I think one of the reason being is because we use Stripe to do our payment. Okay, if I don't know whether I see it, but we take like a 15% commission out of each transaction. Most heroes are okay with it because we take from the freelancer side, right? The problem now, right, is that we charge a booking fee per every time we let our user not post a quest. After they post a quest, when they get a confirmation, right, we actually charge them a booking fee. But all this fee actually goes to Stripe, and it's really expensive. So like it's like 250 plus 3.4%. And especially now that our peer-to-peer transactions are pretty low, like they're not like $100 over, right? It could be $30, $20. People are not as willing to pay like $2, $3 for like booking fee. So I think this is one of our biggest challenge. We have different things coming up. Like we are making an in-app wallet. We are working with like this wallet API company that help us to do like peer-to-peer transactions. And it's really much cheaper. So we can call ourselves Quest Pay and all this kind of thing. So that's coming, and I hope that will help increase the transactions. What we are doing now is trying to educate our market to like, hey, that you can really use your creativity and like post any kind of quest, like like the most random things. And I think that's really quite fun in a sense. Tech wise, right, I think we also didn't have much problem at first per se because my CTO also an IS student from SMU. I think like Yash and Craig like quite close friend, right? My CTO, yeah. So he also just learned everything on the spot. Yeah, he go to a lot of classes, he watched all the YouTube video. We actually hired a Fiverr guy. So we hired someone from using our own platform, and we also hired someone from Quest to teach us also. So we had this like Fiverr guy from somewhere, and he helped us with building the product also. And this guy was damn nice. Like he taught a lot to my CTO and everything. And then when we built a team, we got the right people, and I think that helped us a lot in our product development. But it's still in progress. It's a work in progress. Yeah. I think I got too many things to say, but you all can ask me questions that I answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Evan. So if I were to do a quick recap on what the three of you have shared, actually, there's some common themes that you guys have. So first of all, what you guys have done is finding a gap in the market, right? So for after class, you saw that there's a lack of information, lack of kind of subjectivity when it comes to choosing of mods and so on. For Calibrate, the asymmetry between finding the healthcare. Can I say healthcare? I'm not too sure. There's also healthcare and then the people who need it. So there's a gap there. And for Evan as well, they see people need help. There's so many problems in the world. Like if only we can just throw it to someone, pay someone to do it. So I think that's quite kind of interesting, right? It's how you guys can manage to find like this kind of issues in everyday life that really value adds to everyone's lives, right? And it's not just like say we just make a product just to make a product, or we just have a platform just for the platform. They really do give people some value added quality to their lives, and I think that's quite interesting. The other thing that I realized was how you guys took dynamic approaches to make the whole startup work, right? So how you guys have to learn the technical things, how TikTok one, I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah, the TikTok marketing approach, that's quite interesting.
I think you guys tried like really not bad.
Yeah, and and yeah, so it's quite interesting in that sense. If I think there are some questions in the chat, so let me go through them, and I'll just ask you guys, then if you have any response, you can just voice it out. Okay, so I think a few of them are asking like they want to work for startups, right? So what do you think startups can do, or what do you think their portfolio should have to be attractive to startups for them to help you guys in the technical aspect? Yeah. And why should like people with the technical assets, right, join startups to help you guys? That's the other question that I received on the chat. Yeah. So I think there's this like win-win here, right? Like there are people who have the technical expertise, but then there's you guys who need it. But the link between hiring them is a bit like iffy now. So they just want to kind of like clarify on that lah.
Yeah, maybe I could help to answer that. So I think in terms of the tech side of things, I'm pretty sure three of us are not that well versed in terms of tech because we're not a CTO, right? But what I've learned from my co-founder is also that he doesn't look out for projects. He looks out for what kind of, if I'm not wrong, one of our intern actually has Java language. He knows Java because he learned that in I think NTU or NUS, but we are using C#, which is something different, a different language for our tech stack. But I think a lot of times we don't really look at what kind of like projects they have. I think it's more of the attitude to learn also, because for him, like our lead intern, he was able to switch very quickly from Java to C#. So I think that is a base that we are looking at rather than, you know, what kind of like portfolio you have. Because to be very honest, as a startup, we look out a lot more on like passion, because we do realize that a lot of people, or rather people who apply are really want, those who want to work in the startup scene are those who really want to get experience. Yeah, to really I think there was one question regarding the MNC versus startup thing, startup scene, right? So a lot of times where a lot of our interns do feel that they want to have a wide exposure of things, and they can do that through startups. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm exactly answering your question, but we don't really look at portfolio or project, but rather the attitude to learn, and also what kind of base language you have and how easily you can switch from there. Yeah, based on the tech stack that we are using. Yeah.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah, I also chip in for this. So yeah, at Quest, right, we have a really large group of software engineers also. So I'm not the best person in like the technical wise, right? But what I see myself and my CTO we do when we interview candidates and how we select people, we don't really see what projects you do. Yeah, of course it's good to have, right? You intern before, you have projects. Yeah, it shows that you're understanding and you can even be a great help. But as what Miriam said, like attitude is way more important than aptitude. And because especially for Quest, like we code our app right using this program called Flutter. So Flutter is like a cross-development platform, and most people don't have these skills. So Flutter is not taught in school. I think someone mentioned like SMU might be teaching it soon, but most people don't have a Flutter background. So when our interns come to us, right, we have to teach them again, or like they have to learn on themselves. So we actually see on how much you can self-start, how much you can learn on your own, how independent you are. So I think that's one key thing. And I think attitude matters most. Like I think most things you can pick up quite fast. Yeah, right. And speaking of like why would people want to work in startups, right? I think for us, startups, you learn a lot, or you can do a lot of things differently, right? I have a lot of interns who work in MNC before, and then they come over to Quest. And what they actually say is that they get to have much more autonomy in Quest. Like they do more things, and they can see their codes like being lift out straight away. So like they can code this today, and next week is on the app already. So it's so fulfilling, right? And the culture is very different. At Quest, like everyone is like, I think I'm the oldest guy. Like I'm 24 only. And so the whole culture is really, really different. And it's not like we are lacking anyway. Like your learning might be even way more. So I think there's a lot of reason why people are moving towards startups rather than MNC. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I think for Casey, you knew Nash from school, right?
Okay, so how I met my CTO is actually
Yeah.
from SMU Mods. Yeah.
Oh.
So I didn't know Yash before SMU Mods. Yeah, so I mean, without being too lost, is he was in the leading team of SMU Mods. Then I joined as head of marketing. And haha, now how the table has turned for after class. That's the short story.
Okay, understand. So I guess if you guys don't have the technical expertise, I guess we can always be on the lookout for people that might be open to the idea of startups, right? So establishing, so the idea of networking and then getting people, not say to help you, but to have a common goal and vision I think that's what we want to establish at Eagles, the ecosystem of knowing people and knowing whose expertise can tap into if you have great ideas. And so I think there's another question regarding the status being a middleman, right? So for after class collaborate, and I think even for Quest, there's this idea of like you guys being a middleman. So how do you guys establish the credibility for your both ends of the for both the consumers and the that, and also I think because just now everyone was sharing they have people asking for cigarettes, right? So these kind of things, how do you guys settle it? How do you guys make sure, do you guys just wait for these things to happen, or is there some like preemptive measures that you guys can take? And yeah.
I think I can answer the middleman question.
Yeah.
So for the middleman question is there's two things that for us that worked out. First one is sell your numbers. Second one is sell the promised land. So let me just break down the two of them. The first one is if you have a big number or you have a big user base, that means people have already bought into your product, be it with money or with time, either one of the two. So the way that you're going to do things is, yes, there may be a lot of technical lead time required to build a product. But then what we like to do is do something called an MVP, minimum viable product. That means you can use other means or even no code means to show that your product works. So like Evan mentioned a couple of times is his MVP was through Telegram. Through Telegram, then he grew to 4,000 users. Yeah. So similarly for us, like for our marketplace function, we use a no-code app called Spread Simple. So no code at all. It just powered on Google Drive. That's it. Yeah. So once you are able to rack up the numbers, then hey, then you can say, okay, we have X number of people on our platform. Then you have a talking ground already. So that's for the quantitative part. For the qualitative part, it's called sell the promised land. So in a sense is you cannot sell the here and now. You need to sell the benefits of you into the future, the ideal state, or as startups like to call the unicorn state. Yeah. So basically you need to sell the idea that you are the one who are able to bring this wonderful benefit. So for example, imagine for us using after class, you can have the perfect building strategy. Every time you beat the class, you will get the class. Yeah. Then your users will be like, wow, I want to use that. And that's genuinely helpful for me. And then similarly for Nexus, without rambling too much, is I am cutting your time to help you source my internship. And I am able to find an internship that is truly useful for you. That's from the C2C portion. From the business side portion is, I'm cutting the headhunter for you. I'm saving you time, I'm saving you money, and you can get the intern that you are ideally looking for. So in a sense is, like Marianne has stated, the demand and supply of the chicken and egg, you always need to supplement both sides at the same time. And yes, that takes a lot of hard work, but you can always find hacks towards that. And that's how you start building yourself as a startup.
Okay, right. So let me just intercept and say, yeah, guys, so if you guys have any questions, right, please put it in now so that when everyone finishes sharing, right, we can move on to the questions. Yeah. So touching on Casey's point for a little bit. So I think other than establishing credibility, right, sometimes, especially for after class, right, it's about not being there, if I'm making sense. So this is why I say this. So last sem, right? So for this sem, right, when we bidded, right, after class wasn't fully SMU mods wasn't fully ported over to after class yet. So what happened, I realized, was that every single mod was inflated and I missed like most of my mods. And then it really made me like, wow, this SMU mod is really very important. And honestly, I don't think as a student we can do without SMU mods, because otherwise people will just anyhow be, and it's damn annoying. Yeah, yeah. So sorry about the digress. But yeah, Marianne, you were about to say something?
Actually, if I may just address that point.
Yeah.
I attribute the fact that we may have inflated the blitz. That's one thing. That's one thing. But what I like to say is we are just presenting information. So for the analytics that I think a lot of people are contentious about is we honestly didn't manipulate anything. It's just showing information and presenting it into a different form. So sorry, but But in a
As
sense,
in, yeah.
you're just
Mm.
we're just cutting down imperfect information. That's our stance. That's all.
Yeah, so I think because most people didn't have the information of the previous mods one, right? So for this sem, so I think they went with any number they could think of just to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it of course wasn't available. Yeah. But I really love After Class as well.
It's always
Yeah,
a
sorry,
feedback
Mary.
process. It's always a
Yeah.
feedback process.
Okay. Okay, right. Sorry, Marianne, you're gonna say?
No worries. Yeah, I was gonna add on to Casey's point. But besides that point, I must say that Casey is really a good salesperson. I think you can sell dreams. I'm sold already for after
It's very
class.
interesting. The way
Yeah.
you talk.
If I have to bid, I would have bidded already, but thank God I'm out of there. Yeah, so I think back to the point of what he was referring to about 2 points, right? So firstly is the MVP idea that he mentioned. So for Quest is the Telegram channel, and for us, what we had previously, currently we do have a website called calibrateapp.co. So that was that is the current version. But before that, we actually used a website that it's kind of similar to Wix, not the proudest to say, but it's called Yellow, YELO. So it's not a very known platform, but basically how we pitch to practitioners, or rather get their trust, is that we showed them our this platform, and some of our practitioners are already on board. So I think that the key point here is to find practitioners who believe in you at the start. So once you're able to have some numbers, or rather some practitioners you have already on the platform, it's easier, it gets easier to onboard new practitioners. Yeah, so that was a way which helped to kickstart a bit of our journey. And second thing is also, like Casey mentioned again, right? How do you sell the idea and dream to them to reach the ideal state they're in? So what I found was really helpful for us is to A/B test our pitch. So whenever I pitch to practitioners, I try different methods. So there was once where I mentioned about the Telegram community. Once we started getting a bit more traction, I mentioned that a lot more. And then the time taken to convince them is way shorter, because once they hear, okay, the numbers are there, I don't mind getting on board, because there are already how many X number of users on the Telegram channel. Yeah, so another way to A/B test again is I found that talking about webinars, corporate engagements is something very intriguing to them, because they get direct access to companies. So what we do is to really connect practitioners who want to hold webinars with with corporate companies, because they're able to get access to a lot more employees, a lot more users, as compared to maybe getting one user on a platform, for example. Yeah, so I think the key thing here is to really keep testing out your pitch and see what makes them interested, and then use that pitch to use it for the next pitch that you want to get the practitioner on board. Yeah, so I would say these are the two main key points that really helped us in terms of getting your first few practitioners to trust you. Yeah.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
So
So,
okay, Evan, go ahead.
for us, we don't really have business, right? Okay, at the start, maybe we did. We wanted to get freelancers, blue collar workers, and those businesses to actually post on our platform, right? So yeah, actually we realized at the start, a lot of people who actually post are not students, but are business owner, people who need like help with admin. In Christmas, someone said, help me wrap my present, because he has gifts for his clients. Then he sucked at wrapping, so I'll pay $20 per box. Wow, that was super popular, even when we only have 100 to 200 users. Yeah, and I think that was quite interesting, because that one we got offer like in 5 minutes there was like 20 offers. So that was really cool. For us, when we want to build the trust in terms of like in the Telegram, when you literally cannot do anything much on Telegram, right? Is I think the founders themselves, like you are the one talking to the user. I think it builds a lot of trust. Like I actually spent a lot of time talking to users, and like, hey, hi, actually I tell him the whole story, like, oh, I do Quest, what Quest is this. Maybe some you can just copy paste, but it feels very personal, right? Then I think this actually helps build a trust. And even till today, I try to make sure that I talk to all the users on the app. Like if they post a quest, if I have the time, I'll just, hey, hi, thanks for using the platform. Let me know if any feedback, if it sucks or not, just be honest and let us know. And I think when they see, oh wow, the co-founders of this like app like talk to me, they really like it builds a lot of loyalty, even though like it can even be the point where people are complaining about the app, right? Like someone almost got scammed or something. Like something bad happened. I forgot the exact details. Then my BD intern was talking to the person. So the person was actually quite rude towards my intern. So I was like, okay, never mind. Let me try to talk. Like instead of just letting one user go, let me just spend like 5 minutes talking to the person. I was like, hey, hi, I'm Evan, the co-founder, blah, blah, blah. Then he was, oh, hello, like, oh, nothing else is wrong. And like, he was very nice. So I was like, oh, that's it. Oh yeah, let me know any problem. Because I was like, we are student startup. Yeah, because I think he was like comparing us to like Grab or like, wow, why Grab is so safe? Then it doesn't feel that way. But I was just saying that, oh, like we are student startup from SMU, then we are learning from you, we are learning from users. Then he, oh yeah, it's okay, just work, use kind of thing. So I think taking effort to like actually get 1 or 2 users, even you got 1,000, right? Spending some time on each and every user if you can, actually matters a lot. And then you asked about how we block cigarettes, all this, right? So I think this is very new to us also, because when we built the app, we didn't like think so much about people actually posting such things. Like, because of the amount of requests we get every single day, there are days where actually one of the most screwed up one, right, was like someone was requesting like anybody can be my human punching bag or something. So it was like really those kind. So we tried to like ban we didn't even have a ban system. So we had to delete manually. And the person posts again, we delete. Then at one time, right, for 12 hours, my entire team, right, every 1 hour we have to take turn to see if this guy will post again, then we delete. Because then on the tech side, we were trying to build up the ban system and then try to upload the app store. It takes now 48 hours. Well, then finally we had the ban system. We have one full list of people, just ban all them straight away. So we had this kind of things in place. So I think it's just for this kind, we were very reactive instead. Like we saw what kind of things we needed, like, oh, banning all the words like secrets, what other words like human punching bag, all these kind of words. Then every day we have like this list. So it's our mini AI system that will detect that kind of thing. Yeah. So I think this all will help build out a trust. And I think trust reputation is something that we take a lot of care on. So it's not easy to build. For us, we believe in this thing called like user-generated trust. Like your portfolios, ratings, reviews should build up the trust system rather than we vet everyone. So we are working on that, and we are also like working with SingPass for the like verification stuff. So hopefully all this helps in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, understand. So I think just to use your answers for another question, right? A lot of people are asking like why they should work for startups. Maybe this is one of them. This idea of having to work on the ground, having the personal touch with others, because like at MNCs, you're just like this top-down approach. I think there's a more personal touch to startups. Your own visions can align to startups a bit more. You as a worker, you are able to kind of engineer as well how the startup goes. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. So I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So there's some other questions. Including how you guys juggle between the startup and your own schoolwork. And yeah. So on that note as well, right? I would ask you guys as well. What do you think could have accelerated your process in startup? What help do you think would have been good for you guys to have helped you guys accelerate the whole process, so to speak? Yeah.
I think go first.
Okay,
Tough question.
go ahead. Yeah.
Tough question. Yeah. I mean, if there is one thing that I think, okay, once I say this word, everyone will be like, oh yeah, the word is money. Yeah. So I mean, if you can give me $1 million, then I can hire the best tech person, best marketing person, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but in a more realistic sense is something more intangible, which is time. Because once you start working in a startup, you realize that every single moment in time or your own work directly contributes to a progress in your startup in some way or another. Yeah. So in other words and the more hours you put in, the faster your startup grows. Which also brings me back to one of the questions that you mentioned until, which is why people would prefer to work in a startup is because, okay, here's the difference. If you work in a startup, there isn't really that much hierarchy. And then whatever you contribute to the startup, that's your work, and that is real results. Versus you work in a big business like Essential or something, you're working within a big organization, the small fry to the small fry to the small fry. So whatever you do there contributes very little to the big organization as a whole. So that's kind of the difference that why it is so gratifying to work in startups. Yes, it is tough, but it's always these little goals that you meet that really makes you, wow, I want to go on That's why I say, if I could ask for one more thing more, it is definitely time.
Yep, I understand. Yeah, quite kind of funny. The idea of the chicken and egg, right? You need money to make money. So yeah, sorry, Marian. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's just me. Yeah, I think just to add on, Casey covered, I think, most of the points, which is time, right? I think another thing that is was really important to me and my co-founder is the community and the network that we have. So I think if we joined maybe SMU Big earlier, then maybe things could have been accelerated a lot quicker, because it was through Big that we really get to know more people, know more startup founders, understand their journey, especially similar ones. So through Big, I actually met the ideas. This guy called Remy. I don't know if you guys know him. He has a very large group on or rather user following on Telegram as well. So he was the one that actually encouraged me to start Telegram channel. He was like, you know what, just try out, create a community. Because I had my hesitations of creating a Telegram community, but he kind of encouraged me. He was like, what's there to lose, right? So just go ahead. And I think that was what kickstarted a bit of the user base as well. Yeah. So the community I felt was and the startup network is very small, right? So I think this is something that is rather valuable. And of course, with Big, there's also like the master classes I mentioned earlier that these are things not taught in school, and it's really a chance to meet industry partners. Actually, through Big, we actually met our potential investor there as well. So I think this is something that is very invaluable. You can't get network out of paying, for example. Yeah. So this is something that I wish we could have joined earlier. Yeah. By the way, I'm not paid by Big. I'm just honestly saying, this is something that I felt really helped us in terms of getting that network. Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like a BIG ambassador. It's good. I love BIG.
My
Like,
account manager will be so proud of me.
I use the office all the time. Like I'm right here right now. So yeah, I think BIG, like, it was really helpful. For us, like, okay, I think the first question was like, how do you juggle your time within school, right? I don't have the perfect answer for that, because I spend most of my time working. Especially nowadays, like because I'm in school right now. Even doing because now someone is Zoom, so most of the time I'm doing my own work. Then I just listen. Then you class part. Then okay. So I think last sem when I first started like really doing it with the whole Telegram idea. I told myself that I will try my best to learn in class, but in terms of like doing really a lot of homework, I don't really do. I just do projects so that I don't let my teammates down. So I just do whatever I can in terms of like group projects, and that's it. And most of my group project I use Quest. So like I had this marketing mod, I use Quest. So we cut down 80% of the time because most of the things were done. And I think that helped a lot. Yeah, and it was really good because like your groupmates can help you with your project, right? Your business, right? And being an on-tree major helps. So now I'm promoting being an on-tree major. Most people are not on-tree major. I don't really know anybody else except Clarence. So I think that helps because a lot of the things you learn in on-tree class can directly apply back. Or I'm a marketing and on-tree major, so whatever I'm learning now actually applies back. So choosing the right majors to be in also affects the amount of time you spend studying also. Right now, trying to clear as much marks as I can and graduate. Yeah, I know I don't have the best answer because I'm not the best person to ask when it comes to studying. But okay, my grades are not that bad. It's okay. A disclaimer. Yeah. What was the second question?
What do you think could have helped you guys
I
accelerate
think
the
what
process? Yeah.
was very important. Networking. I not the best at networking at the start. Only recently when we grew a lot, right? They were like, oh shit, we need to like start finding investors. We need to start raising our seed round. How to do all this, right? So I think nowadays I network a lot more. Yeah, I think if we were to network more, even at the start, like even when we just started, and not be afraid of your idea, even though we don't have as much users, I think that will help a lot. Because generally people are nicer than you think. People are really very open to sharing their ideas. Like yeah, like Marian also willing to share what Telegram tries to join. And all this really help us. I think the earlier if we know about like how to network better, I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
Understand. So I think it's really quite interesting how you talk about the studies, right? I think as students as SMU in general, right, we actually have an advantage, right? Every month we just have to go to school like for one session. It's not like spread out over the whole week. So some days, some weeks, we might have a few days off, or in general, like quite a lot of free time to kind of engage in the things they like to do. And I think that's quite fortunate of us as SMU students, and I think it's quite interesting that you brought it up as well. So I think another person asked whether you have any tips or interviews for positions in startups. Okay, so I know just now some of you said the attitude, right? So other than attitude, what do you think would be favorable in a startup? Or as co-founders, what do y'all look out for other than the attitude? Yeah.
Okay, honestly, attitude is
vision,
very important. Like I think all the
Okay.
first two things, like if there's two candidate that's as good, right, in terms of their portfolio or whatever. The first question I ask, how is the person's personality? How can we really bond together? And how does this person live up to our like the Quest culture? Like this is how Quest like is this person. I think that's one of the things we ask. I think very important to know the company, because so I think there's one question that asks what kind of platforms are good to find, right? We post on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn helps a lot. So I don't know whether Marian and Casey know this tip, right? But if you post on LinkedIn, then you post the free one, and then you ask your co-founder to post the free one also. Then you can post for a lot of jobs, because LinkedIn actually charges like a lot of money for each, like to push you up and everything. But you just click no, I don't want to pay, right? And they'll post for you, and it can last forever. And after it got expired, just post again. And each founder or each person in the team just post one job, and then you can have 4 jobs. And whoever apply your job, you'll increase your followers in LinkedIn. So that's
Wow, didn't know. Thanks for your tip. I'll try that
so
out.
all times you have 4 jobs in LinkedIn. Yeah, but yeah, so that helps us a lot. LinkedIn was good because I think now it's very hard to hire because people are in school, but summer we had over like 400 applicants, and then it was really good for us to choose. But when we choose, I think attitude, and I think the company. As I said, like we got so many, right? But not everyone came prepared. If you like, there are people who don't know that we have a Telegram channel, and that's not very good, especially at that point. That was like our whole thing. Like you didn't know about our main thing. That shows your research lah. But there are times when people impress us and say, hey, wow, I've been following you, I've been doing this, or I'm actually a Quest user. Then wow, those are very impressive, right? Because they show how much they care, they're really passionate. Recently, more people, the cooler interns, right, who even like come with a deck prepared, like, oh, this is the few things I can do. I believe your app can do this. I think those are really impressive. I think if you come prepared, show your passion. I think that will help a lot. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I think it's really about thinking as a startup, as a co-founder as well. Right? So what do you yourself, if you have a startup, what do you want to see in your own workers? And other than the fact that you guys have the same vision, right? So if Casey and Marian doesn't have any other inputs for this question, maybe we can wrap this discussion up with me asking you guys, so what's next for you guys?
Yeah, maybe just one point to add in terms of the last question. So the tips part, I think for us, communication and culture fit is very important, along with passion and attitude. So communication skills is, even though a startup is small, but a lot of times a lot of us are working from home, right? So there's a lot of communication to from one team to another. So that's where we really look out for in terms of how do you communicate to your team members, and how do you work well with them. I think team player is a huge thing in startups, because you have to work so closely with each other. And if you are kind of always like very don't take in ideas, you're domineering, and you don't respect each other, I think this is something, a huge red flag for us, because we do realize that teams or rather interns that have good communication skills really work quite well together. So this is something that we really look out for in terms of the interviews, along with being prepared. I think Evan also mentioned that there was one interviewee that also, I think that she knew about Calibrate even before she applied. So that was something which was quite impressive for us also, because we felt, okay, at least she knows about Calibrate, and they actually resonated with their personal story as well. So if you have any personal stories to share, like for example, she shared that she also had a hunchback, she felt very inferior, and she felt that Calibrate was a very good solution. Yeah, so if you have personal stories. I think just portray yourself as, like a human. Like what are some things that resonate with you? What are some things that even take you? So these are things that we look out for, not just like a very polished person. And we want to know what are your flaws as well, so that we can work on them together. Yeah. So these are some of the tips I would say maybe for job interviews. Yeah.
I understand. So actually someone has a very interesting question, right? So how did you all choose your own co-founders, or are there any red flags, or yeah, it's quite interesting question actually.
Hold on, I just want to add
even if they have
one more tip for the
yeah.
one. I think one
Yeah,
important thing is like, I think all interviews, like the first thing I ask is like, oh, tell me about yourself. Because I think this like so open-ended and it really shows a lot. Yeah, it's not really good if your opening just, hi, I'm a year 3 business student and I like to play basketball. Like it's okay lah, but it'll be really nice if you tell me a lot of story about yourself. And actually that one question determines whether you're good already. Yeah. So if you ever asked, right, try to talk more during that part. I think it really helps. Yeah.
Understand. Yeah.
I think very quickly, just to answer Randall's question, because
Okay.
we're running we're running behind. Anyway, so for me is any suitable co-founder will be always willing to be there with you, regardless of anything else. Because the number one trait in the best co-founder is they always put the business as the number one. Yeah, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned just now, without your own hard work, the startup won't grow. So it's similar to the interview question. My co-founder might not be the best coder, might not be the best designer, or I myself, I'm not the best marketer or finance person or whatsoever. But it's about the willingness to learn, because you and I are here in uncertainty. We don't know what I don't know. It's about finding out ourselves. So having the perseverance, because if you die or you give up, then the company goes together too.
Okay. Quite interesting takes on this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that answers the question, Randall.
Yeah. Like Casey very serious. Like I never think so much about dying or not lah. But finding my co-founders, I think as how we find our interns, the same thing, like personality. My founding team is really quite interesting. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm overly optimistic sometimes. My CTO is overly pessimistic, and then my CPO, he's very realistic. So I think if things goes well, like we gave 4K users today, my CTO will be, wow, shit, there's so many things to do, or like, oh no, the app going to die or something. Like, oh my god, the data will cost a lot, all this. But we're so happy, and there's a nice balance to it. So I think finding the right people in the sense of like personality, how well you all can blend works is very important. I do have arguments with my co-founders, but we never fight or anything, or we'll never ever like be upset with each other. I don't think I ever had and I think that works very well. So it and someone you can really trust. I think that's important. Yeah, because especially at the start when you really don't know anything, you really need to know that this person can be there for you. So trust is super important. Yeah.
I mean, need to think of that because of incorporation and also founders agreement. Yeah, so those are two legal things that part and parcel of every startup.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just add on one point as well.
Yeah, sure.
I think Casey and Ever covered a lot on personality and trust, and hands down agree on that's one of the things that we look out for. So I mean, I look out for, but obviously mine was a bit more unique because he's my brother. So I already have that trust factor down. I have personality down, so it's a bit easier for me. But I think what could be something for you to look out for is also the complementary of skills. So for myself, I'm the non-technical founder. For my brother, he is a CTO plus CEO. So he do have technical expertise. So I think a good balance is definitely something that investors look out for, because they want someone who can bring the tech to the table, and another one who is a bit more the other side of things, like operational, sales, marketing, and partnerships. So I think this is something that will be a good balance for the founders. Yeah, and I think for Casey and Evan, I think you guys have that blend as well, considering you do have a CTO. Yeah, so this is something that could be looked out for when you're looking for founders. Yeah, in terms of red flags, I would say personally, I obviously didn't encounter that, but I think if you could probably suss out like whether he is, I would say, does the co-founder respect you as much as you respect the person? And of course, communication is very important because when you guys get into a quarrel, get into a fight, do you guys reconcile it like calmly, or you walk away and then you scream at each other? I think it's something very important in terms of like how do you reconcile the challenges. Yeah, I think these are the two things that are pretty important in terms of like looking out for co-founders. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Evan, you go
So there's this thing
Yeah.
that they always say, right? The hipster,
okay.
hustler, hacker. Yeah, you have all three, then I think you're solid really. Yeah.
Right.
And fortunately, I found my hacker and hipster. Yeah. My CPO had a man bun. I was like, wow, you're the right guy already. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
So,
guys.
Yeah. On that note, right? Before we end off the call, is it possible if we take a group photo? So the audience, if you guys if it's convenient for you guys, please switch on the cameras and then we'll just take a group photo together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this could be like another 10 seconds maybe.
Evan, I have a man bun. Do you want to hire me too?
I'll hire you any day.
Okay, all right. Right. So I'll just like count to three. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Thanks, guys. On that note, I'd like to thank our panelists today again. Casey, Marianne, and Evan for your sharing. I think it's very insightful for all of us. And thank you everyone for spending your Wednesday evening with us as well. We hope to see more of you on the upcoming sessions as well. Yeah. So this officially marks the end of today's session.
Just a very quick closer is if you all need any help or anything, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to give you feedback and everything.
Yeah, you can find their emails in the just type their name, I think. Oh wait, but Marianne might be a little bit hard to find since she graduated.
My email still can use, okay.
Okay, yes,
But I mean LinkedIn,
yes,
LinkedIn.
everything LinkedIn can already.
Yeah, LinkedIn is
LinkedIn.
fine.
Thank you for us.
Happy to
More
share
than
our
happy to
help.
share. Text me with
Yeah.
that.
That'd be good. Yeah. Okay.
Right, thanks guys, thanks Casey, thanks Marianne, thanks Evan. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining, right? I think like everyone said, the startup ecosystem is really small, very tight knit, right? So doesn't hurt to connect with folks here, just to learn a bit more. And so do feel free to connect with everyone here. Find us on LinkedIn, find us on Telegram. If you have any questions about like entree major, for Evan and myself, do reach out. Happy to share our experiences as well, right? So thanks guys. Have a great night and have a great week ahead for those going back to school. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.